Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 2. Learn basic CSS by building a cafe menu. Yeah, let's get to it. So this is the end product here, and let's start coding. Okay. All right. So step one. Let's see. Just like the previous episode, I'm just gonna skim through this, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and start. Okay. So then HTML element with lang equals en. No? Oh yeah, alright, we need to close it. And the head element within the HTML. So let's do this. So you can add title element inside the head, I believe. Title cafe menu title. Do I need to fix this? There we go. Okay, so the title of several elements. Okay, inside the head element, nest a meta element that would char set equals UTF-8. So we've gone through this in the previous episode. Uh, yeah, let's skip those. We're still on HTML here, so we didn't start the CSS part. To prepare and create actual content at the body. Control Enter. Okay, so we're adding a main element. Let's do it this way. Control Enter. Okay. So the name of the cafe is add the H1 camper cafe. Okay. Control Enter again. Uh-huh. Okay, so we're adding a paragraph below here with this text. Then let's close it. Control Enter. Mhm. Let's okay. So there are two. Add a section element within the main element. Okay. So let's have it then. Section. Section. Okay. So let's create an H2 element here within the section with the text coffee. All right. Okay, up until now you have been limited regarding to the presentation and appearance of the content you create. To start taking control, add a style element within the head element. Okay, so basically this is the CSS bit, right? Um, so essentially you can actually so basically you can just simply add the style element um, to the HTML page itself, and you don't need a .css file type. So all of your CSS could actually be there within the HTML page itself, but it's just a matter of the proper way of doing it, or the more convenient way of doing it, or the smartest way of doing it, because having a separate CSS page would basically let you have more control, and you can separate both scripts based on the languages, so that it will be more organized and easier to work with. So yeah. You'll see when we go through this. All right. So yeah. So this is basically CSS, right? So his this is the format over here. So element and then curly brackets and then the property and then with the colon in between and then there's a value and then a semicolon. Okay, so in this step over here, they're asking us to create a rule. Ooh, is this proper? Okay, I don't know. I'll just start calling it a rule. Okay, so h1, and we are going to manipulate the text align uh, property of the h1 element, and we're gonna add a value of center over here. And you can see here the h1 element just went from left side to center of the page. Okay. Okay. So now we're doing basically the same thing with the H2 and the P elements. Okay, type selector for each one existence. Okay, so I'm assuming they need three separate things over here. So one is for H2 and then there's another one for P, all in the middle. Okay, yeah. Um, okay, you know how to type selector. Okay, yes. So basically, what they're saying here is that you don't need all of that, and you can just add a comma over here and then add the other elements together, since the end property or the end value is going to be the same, right? So we're just adding everything over here with the comma, and then everything is centered again because every element over here would be using the same property anyway with the same value. Okay. Okay, so now we have created a separate styles .css file for you and switch to the editor view of that file, right? So, okay, start by writing a style you created into the styles.css. Make sure to include the opening and closing of style tags. Huh, you've created into the style. Okay, so not so sure what they want us to do here. I believe it's this. Basically rewriting what we wrote over there. Text align, center, is it? Yep, okay. Okay, and they're asking us to remove the style tags over here because it's not necessary anymore. And basically now we're adding the link to the styles CSS page that we created, right? So that this HTML page can refer to that styles.css page and then it can apply those changes from there. All right. So what do we need to do here? Link element. Okay, link. Then we're adding a rel attribute with the value of style sheet, and the h reference equals the styles.css because essentially they're within the same folder, so you don't need to mention a path here. Okay, so now it's successfully linked, right? And basically it took the changes. Okay, so here for the styling of the page to look similar on mobile as it does on a desktop or a laptop, you need to add a meta element with a special content attribute. Okay, so one second. So it's another meta element. Hmm. Okay, let me just type it and equals. initial scale equals 1.0. Right. So basically, so adding this element over here, it will allow, I guess, mobile phones to view the page as it is intended on a desktop page, right? So the width equals device minus width, meaning it will basically rescale everything according to the device scale instead. So yeah, mobile scale in case it detected it, I guess. Okay. Okay, so this is like a dynamic way of fixing that issue. Interesting. All right. So the text is centered. Sorry, I just zone out sometimes. Okay, so to another changes background color property. Okay, so we're adding background color to this. To brown. No, for the body element. Okay, okay, for the body element, meaning we have to do this. Okay, change the body. Okay, so there's another color that they want us to switch to. And yeah, we're getting there now. We do have the background of that cafe menu. Okay, what do we need to do here? Content element you have used so far. The div element inside the body element, and then move all other elements inside the new div. Okay, and then we have to add an ID attribute menu. Okay, so whatever is inside the body should go into this ID menu, and then close it, and then we'll add the whole main element over here, or tag, to slash div. Okay, let's add a tab over there. Okay, so basically the div element is basically is a divider, right? It's almost like a section, but it has nothing basically. It's just a way for you to manipulate it. I mean, adding the ID over here will allow you to manipulate it with CSS. So you can manipulate whatever is inside of this div element, and yeah, so it'll act as a parent. So if you interact directly to the div, it might affect everything within it, but you can also specify those child elements as well. All right. Okay, so here use the hashtag menu selector to give it more. Okay, so basically when we refer to IDs, you have to use hashes. Okay, so hash menu, because we named that ID over there, that div ID was menu, right? So that's how you refer to it. So we want to make changes to that div element specifically with the ID menu, and then we're gonna change the width to 300 pixels, and yeah. So an ID actually can be applied to any sort of element. It doesn't have to be a div, but it's more common. I've seen it to be more common, يعني, with divs. So yeah, all right. And your style sheet comment. Okay, so we need to comment something here on the style sheet. So okay, we learned in the previous episode how to comment an HTML line. So now we're commenting a CSS line, and this is the way you just add those slash forward slash with an asterisk, and then yeah, again, other way around though. Okay. hmm Okay, so now use the existing selector. Okay, so red in background, color. Okay, so basically, this is actually pretty nice over here. So I used to do this a lot. So whenever like I work with CSS and I have a specific element that I'm working on, I would just give it a background color so I know exactly how it looks like, right? What's the hidden margins over here that I have? Do I need to add an extra padding over here and so on? So it makes things clearer. In this case, like this is basically your div element right now. Okay. So change the width to be 80% instead of 300 pixels. So that's 80%. Uh-huh. Yeah, and here it specifies like the width property would be like I mean when we set it to 80% for any element, then it would be like 80% of the parent element. In this case, like we do have a parent element, which is the body element. In other cases, I guess, like if you would specify the body to be 80%, it might be a little bit different because there is no, I mean, there would be like the HTML tag would be the parent element, but it might have like a slight margin. I believe those come by default, so you have to remove them. Anyway, we'll see how it goes in the next step, I believe, or yeah, next couple of steps. Okay. Okay, so yes, so you want to center the menu horizontally. You can do this by setting the margin left. Okay, so we're centering it without text align, right? Because we've learned that text align would center text, but then this is not a text, so it wouldn't work. Okay, so margin left auto. Okay, the margin right equal auto. So what auto does here is that it'll find the middle way, middle grounds between both margins, since both of them are trying to push a little bit. And yeah, so they equally push the margins, and you'll find the center this way. I guess they'll teach us another way, if I remember correctly. Change the existing, okay, selector to class selector. Okay, yeah, so we learned how to reference an ID attribute, or the way they call it here, a selector. So if you label an element or assign it a class instead, you'll have to specify a dot instead. So it wouldn't work now because we don't have a class on the with the menu value, right? We do have an ID, which is the div. So the moment I do this, the background color changes and everything is applied, and then it's removed. Okay, so I'm assuming it will take us to the HTML, and it will ask us to remove this and change it to class instead, which will apply the styles again. Alright, so we're here now. Delete the comment and its content inside the body. Uh-huh. Okay, now add a background image. And then you can specify this URL. Let's do this. Alright, so we do have a background now. Add an empty article. Okay, under the coffee element, article. Okay. Article elements commonly contain multiple elements that have related information. In this case, it will contain a coffee flavor and a price for that flavor. So nest two paragraph elements inside the article. So that's P and then another P. Okay. The first one's text should be. Oh, okay, so we have to add text as well. French vanilla. And then we do have 3.00, which is the price. All right. So we have them vertically, but it should be like this, right? So yeah. So starting below. Okay. First summary text should contain the coffee flavor, and second. Okay. What's there to change? Starting below the existing coffee price pair, add the following coffee and prices. Okay, they want us to add all those other items. So those are four. Mhm. Let's copy this. Caramel macchiato, 3.75. And then we have pumpkin spice, 3.50. Hazelnut, that's 4. And we have mocha, that's 450, 50, and then let's do this. Yep, we pass. Okay, so we do have this menu over here, and then let's add a class named flavor to the French vanilla P element. Okay, so they want us to add a class, so that's class flavor. And then they would ask us to. Okay, so we're at the CSS file now. You can see it here. So that's flavor. Okay, but that's a class, so you add a dot before, and then you can specify text align, and then left. Okay, so we have it to the left. All right, and then we have to do the same thing here, but with a different class called price. Okay, and now we do price. Oop, price text align. Right. So we do have a price to the right and then the flavor to the left. Okay. Okay. To get them to the same line, you need to apply some styling to the P elements so that they behave more like inline elements. Mhm. Okay, so the paragraph elements are block level elements, so they take up the entire width of their parent element. Basically, it's okay, an entire block, right? And then we have to change it to an inline element so that they are in the same line. To do that, start by adding a class attribute with a value item to the first article element under the coffee heading. Okay, so we're adding a class to this article element with item because okay, those are technically one item, right? So one flavor and its price, and that's an item. Mhm. So we do this. So basically, we're trying to select the class called item and to be specific, the paragraph within the class item, right? because we might have like multiple elements over there. So that's how you select the paragraph within the item. And then you use the attribute display, and then oh sorry, property display, and then you add the value of inline block. Okay, display. Can see it here, so both are now within the same line, but we kind of lost the text align to the right, I guess. Oh no, we did not, but I think that's the size of the box over here. So it used to span up until like the right edge, but now this is the inline element width. So now that's close, but the price didn't stay over to the right. Yeah, that's because inline element only take up the width of their content. So yeah, that's okay. So that's the width of the P element now is only up to this because that's the how much text is in there. So we'll have to stretch it out. Okay. Uh, Add a width property to the flavor and price classes so that okay, select 50% each. Okay, so width equal, oh, not equal, but colon 50%. Okay, so that's 50% of the parent element, and there's another 50% over there, but then it jumped to the other line. Okay, it's still passed, so I'm guessing they're fixing it now. Okay, so for each class, okay, so change 49 for each class because basically styling P elements as inline block and placing them on a separate line, the code creates an extra space to the right of the first P element. Okay, okay, so there is like a hidden space in between both. I'm guessing, yeah, exactly. That's the one, right? That's the hidden space. So this many pixels actually took over I mean, it pushed the other element to the next line. So basically, when we did 49%, we have this much extra space, if you can see here, which is more than enough to keep this extra space over here, if you get what I mean. So yeah, so this fits right now, and that will allow us to do this. Okay. But yeah, so it worked, but then there's a little bit of space to the right side over here, which is extra. That's annoying. Okay. Um, Backspace key, keyboard, move the P element with the class price. Okay, so we have to actually physically move it over here. So there's no space in between. That would remove the space in between, I guess. Okay, let's just highlight and see. Yeah, there's no middle line anymore. All right. So now we can change them back to 50% each and it should be consistent and yep. So perfect. All right, we are at 42. You can change the remaining article and P elements to match the first set. Start by adding the class item to the other article item. Okay, so those are all new, the new ones. Okay, so we'll do class item, which would start fixing those. So right now we're just applying the same style to the rest of the uh, menu items over here, and then we've updated the class item to each of those article elements. And then we need to add the flavors as well. Now position the other P element out to be okay. Yeah, we need to move the paragraphs to be next to each other so that we remove that empty space. Just so you guys can see, this is the extra space that we're removing. So whenever you highlight things over here, you can identify some hidden things as well. Yeah, so there's that. So if I move this here, it's gone. All right. So we remove that space, and now since we already have a flavor style ready for us, so we'll have to apply it, flavor, and then we can add the class price. Nope. Okay. Yep. So it works. Let's add it to the rest now. Let me copy one of them. That makes things easier and faster. Okay. And then we'll copy the price class, and then we can find them. They would be to the right side over here, and then yeah, perfect. Okay. So we have them all over here as the step requires us to achieve. Okay. So here, yes, 45. Since you know the prices are to the right and significantly have significantly fewer characters, change the flavor class width value by 75% and the price width to 25. Okay, that doesn't make any difference though. We're just giving an extra portion of width to the flavor, and we're just reducing the width for the price, but it should be the same. Basically, the width of this paragraph element could be up to here right now. All of them could be up to here, and this is the next portion for the price. We can visually see it if we can add again like a background color. Let's see, let's say yellow, whatever. Yeah, exactly. So that's yellow over here, and then if we do this over here, that's the other portion. So we just manipulated those sizes or those width for those elements to be as such, right? So again, yeah, I totally encourage using the background colors. It's really helpful to visualize what's happening whenever like you want to fix an issue that you don't like. Okay, so let's go for the next one. Now go ahead and add a second section element. Okay, underneath. Okay, add an h2. Come on. H2 element with desserts. Okay. And then underneath, let's add an empty article with the class item. All right. So here we'll add 2p elements. I'm assuming it's without space. I mean, without a new line in between. And then text should be donut, and then 1.50. All right. And then we'll add. Okay, from the just add dessert as the value. For the well, what? Okay, for the two p elements you just add dessert as the value of the first p element class. Ah, okay. So it's the class equals dessert, and then the price again. So the price should take effect actually because we already have one. Yep. Uh, yeah, you can see it moved right to 25% to the right. Because I mean that's the width. Okay, that's allocated to it. So now add dessert class as an additional selector. So that's comma dessert. Now it's perfect because 75% up to here and then 25%. Okay. So now Um, okay. Okay, so now we need to add those over here. Cherry pie. And that's 2.75. And then there's, let's see, come on, cheesecake. That's 3.00. Cinnamon roll. The price would be 2.50. And we're done. Okay. Oops. Okay, so give the menu class a padding to the left. Padding left with the same value of 20 pixels. Okay, and then we have a padding right, 20 pixels. Okay, so we just added like a cushion to the right and a cushion to the left of 20 pixels so that it doesn't touch the borders over here. Okay, it does look better. Now try add the same 20 to the top and bottom of the menu. So that's padding top, I guess, 20px. Yep, padding bottom 20px. There we go. Okay, since all four sides of the menu have the same internal spacing, go ahead and delete the four elements and use a single padding property with this. Okay, so basically if we just do this to 20, it should do I mean, should apply the padding on all four sides, right? Come on, what happened? Oh, we're done? No, no, we're not. Okay, okay. Adding a max width property to the menu class by with a value of 500, okay, to prevent it from growing too wide. Okay, so we're adding a limit to how big it can go. Okay, 500 px max width. Okay, so now no matter how I stretch it, like the background stretches, but the actual menu doesn't. It stays at 500 px. However, it goes smaller. So that's the max 500 px. Okay, perfect. Let me do this. All right, so what do they want me to do now? Change all text in your body and oh, okay, by adding a font family. Font family is sans serif. Okay, so everything within the body element, which is like the parent of all of our div elements. So that's why it applies to everything. All right, it's a bit boring for all of the text to have the same font family, so you can have the majority of text as sans serif, but or and make just the h1 and h2 elements different by using a different selector. Okay, so h2. Okay, so let's do h1 hyphen h2 font family, I guess. Impact. Yep. All right. So yes, this is interesting. So basically, you can add a fallback value for the font family by adding another font name separated by a comma. Fallbacks are used in instances where the initial is not found or available. So basically, if there's browser, I guess, that does not have that font by default installed by default. Um, so it would fall back to the other font over here, which is the fallback one, which is the second one. Okay, so yeah. Um, what we could have done though, not so sure how to get back to the previous one, but okay. Okay, make, oh, I can change it here, right? Okay, so just so that we can have a look at this. Yep, so that's the fallback font over here, and that's the primary font. Okay, so make the okay, established 2020 text italicized by creating an established class, and then up, and then font adding a font style property with the value of italic. There we go. We have it. It's not applied yet because we don't have that uh, over here. So now we have to add a class called established. And now it's in italics. Okay. Um, let's see now. Add two new selectors. The table of heading element is set by default values of users. Okay. Add two new type selectors. Okay, so H1, H2. Again, I guess. Font size 40 px. Oh, okay, so we're changing each one individually. And the other one to 30 px. Okay. Huh, interesting. So, I just did this on purpose. So I changed the value before I changed the selector. So basically, the way the CSS works is from top to bottom, right? So this is applied, but then if there's another one that has a different value, it will overwrite within last value. So that would be the last value, right? So that's why it changed. So if we do 20, it would change to 20. 40 is not applied anymore because this comes um, at a higher priority, basically. So yeah, let's switch it to 30 and then H2. It's basically the way it interprets the code over here. Okay. The coding order, right? That's what they call it. Yeah, coding order. Um, Add a footer element below the main. Okay, we're almost there, I guess. Below the main element where you can add some additional information. Where's the main element? Oh, that whole thing is the main element. Okay. So we add a footer, close the footer. Oh, there you go. And then inside the footer, add a p element, then nest another. Alright, so let me close this. Then nest an anchor element. Uh, 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Mm, okay, so paragraph element. Then nest an anchor element in the p that links this link and has a text visit our website. Okay, so that's an anchor element with h reference. Um, this h reference, and then we close it over here. I think I'm doing it right. Yep. Okay, so we do have the link. Okay, let's add a second p element, the one below the one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, free code camp drive up. Okay, and then let's close it. Up. With 1, 2, 3, free code camp drive. Is there a dot? Oh, I was just doing it blindly. Where is it? Let's control X and then control V. All right. Okay, so HR. HR is like a horizontal divider mhm, between the P element with the class established and the section, I guess. Yep, HR. You don't need to close that, I think. Yep. And they need it somewhere else, I guess. Okay, now and we're adding styles to the HR element. So change the height to 3px. Okay, so it's wider now. And then I guess we're adding a color brown. No, it's a background color. Okay, to brown. Perfect. And okay, so you can see here. Can I zoom here? Up, 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 up. I can fix it. Okay, so there is like a white border with a gray. Yeah, white and gray borders over here. So now we're trying to fix that by setting the background color of the border color to brown as well. Yep. So now it's what is it? It's all black, and the bottom part is gone. It's full brown over here. Okay. So I guess this works. Are we removing that upper part? Change the height to be 2px, so the total height of it becomes 4px. Okay, wait. Let's read the whole thing. The default value of a property named border width is 1px. There's a default value. That's why, okay, it's a little bit bigger than what it's supposed to be. So by changing the border to the same color as the background, the total height of the line is 5px plus the top and bottom part of the border. Okay, so we're trying to reduce it by 1 pixel. So basically, we're changing the height to by 1 pixel. Okay, go ahead and add another HR element between the main and footer. Alright, we have it here. And okay, on the inside of the body element by using the padding property. Okay, so we're adding a padding of 20px. Is this right? Not so sure what it's referring to here. Let me just remove this. Okay, so we do increase this default padding, I guess, or whatever is residual from the other changes that we've done. So yeah, it's there. Okay, use the existing selector that targets all of the p elements nested in the n elements. Okay, top and bottom. Top. That's not here. Okay, use the existing selector that targets all the p elements nested in over here. Why can't I just do this? Then we remove this and add a bottom. Alright. Using the same. Okay, so we're changing the font size to 18px. And then we're creating another class called bottom line. Oh, why did I do that? And then we are giving it a margin top 25px. Then I assume, oh, to the second HR element. Okay, so we're adding space in between. Class bottom line. Yep. Okay. So next you're going to style footer element to keep the CSS organized and add a comment at the end of the style to CSS with text. Okay, so they're asking for a comment. They're just testing us here. All right. Moving down to the footer element, make all the text have the value of. Okay, so we can do for the font size 14px. All right. Links the same. Okay, so we're changing the link color over here to make the footer link the same color regardless of link has been visited. Because if it should be blue, but then if we visit it, then it goes to purple, right? That's the standard colors for URLs. So we're changing that. So what we need to do, I guess, can we do this? Footer A. So that's the anchor element within the footer. And then we're adding a color black. I mean, this works, but will it accept it? No. It wants the entire thing. Okay. Okay, so you change properties. Yeah, so if it's visited, we need another thing. Okay. Change the color of the footer link to be gray when the user has visited it. Okay. So visited. Basically, whenever you see a colon here in the CSS page, it refers to an action, right? So that's the visiting action. So if a link has been visited, then you apply this certain styles to that element. And in this case, the color should be gray, which is gray right now because we have visited that link previously, I mean. Okay, so you change the color of the. Okay, so hover. Okay, so that's a hover, and then we can do this brown. So now when we hover, it's brown, right? Change the color of the footer again to be white when clicked on. Okay, so a active color white. It will work. Yep, it works. Okay, to keep up with the same color theme. Change the color for when the link is visited to black, and use brown for when. Okay, so visited black, use brown for when it's actually clicked. So now it's black, hover, it's brown, you click, it's still brown. Okay, top margin to 0 to remove all top margins. You don't need to specify your unit because 0 is 0. Okay, so what do we have here? Okay, bottom margin bottom to 15 px. Okay, we've reduced it. Now what? To decrease the default margin space below the address p element, create a class selector named address. Okay, and we'll give it a margin bottom 5px. Then we're assigning this an address class. Okay, add an image. Okay, source equals. Okay, and then we add an alternative text, coffee icon. That should be okay. Okay, so that's the icon over here. And then, yeah, so images are block elements, and we're trying to change them to inline elements so that we can modify it, I guess, and move it to center. All right, so to make it, oh, okay, that's CSS. So to make it behave like a heading element, create an image, and then we display, use the value block. Okay, it's not a block element. It is by default an inline element. That's what they're referring to. Okay, so we are changing it to block, and then we're gonna use margins instead of text align to, yeah, okay, makes sense. Um, so would that mean that text align center works here? No, it doesn't. It's not text. Okay, anyway, display block. So it's a block, and then we do margin left. Then we give it 50%, I guess. Margin right. No, it's not 50%. It's not. It's auto. Yep. All right. So add another image. Source equals, and then there's alt text, which is pie icon. So let's copy this. Then we have that because the style of the image is already there, so it's already centered. Okay, there's an easier way. Simply add a negative top margin. Okay, so we're trying to reduce the space, so we're adding a negative margin top, I guess. Margin top minus 25px. Yep, and we're done. All right, so that's course number 2, and we're gonna go ahead with course number 3 in the next video. Not so sure when, but yeah. See you. Bye.